RetroBlasting is a YouTube channel for adult pop culture enthusiasts. Anyone under the age of 13 should only watch this channel with your parents. RetroBlasting is not a children's channel.
What's the problem? I mean, besides the fact that it's a rebel ship.
It just feels wrong. To do a video about a Palitoy Star Wars toy and not have Tony involved?
I completely agree. He has the credentials, the knowledge. He's way more handsome than
Shut up. Maybe I can imitate his voice. You know, like make it an homage to analog toys.
I don't think that's a great idea.
Wait. Just let me try it. Hey toy fans, my name is Michael, and today we're looking at the legendary variant of the Star Wars X-Wing Fighter from Palitoy. Huh? No?
If you continue like this, I really will murder you in your sleep.
Do you have a better option?
In the interest of not allowing you to humiliate me, I will bring him here.
He's on the western edge of Australia.
Peasant, I do not have such mortal limits. Watch and learn. Tony.
Broken Vader?
Michael needs your help to review the Palitoy X-Wing. He was desperate and attempted to imitate your voice, and it was really awkward. You can destroy Michael. It is your destiny. Help me review this toy, and together we can rule YouTube as figure and collector.
Hey, I'm right here. I can hear you.
Happy to help. Not really interested in all this Destiny stuff though. Yeah, Michael, if you can hear me, I've got this, mate.
Well, what did he say?
He said he'd totally help you, but he wasn't interested in helping me. What should I have expected from a place entirely peopled with criminals?
Hey, Australia's a beautiful place. We've both been there.
We gotta get back to the past, to the 20th century. Digging through the bubble wrap into your memories. Magnus the collector, he's protecting what we find. Relentless heavy rhythms keep us safe through time. RetroBlasting.
This is killer! Oh, no!
The stuff you love since you were 9. We're blasting into the past to see what thrill still lasts. RetroBlasting.
Can he escape in the X-Wing Fighter? Only you will know. Only you can create your own Star Wars.
In the many years of collecting, I've been asked the question 1,000 times, what is my favorite Star Wars toy? And I've most often said, the X-Wing Fighter from Kenner. It was portable, packed with play value, and just a cool-looking space fighter. The Kenner X-Wing design went through an evolution during the original Star Wars era. First released in a pristine white plastic, which was a common trend amongst toy companies making spaceships in the late 1970s. However, by the premiere of The Empire Strikes Back in 1980, the mainstay Star Wars vehicle was refreshed with a more authentic gray plastic body, a tinted canopy, and black engine intakes. This new X-Wing was also provided with those now infamous battle damage stickers. And you know how I feel about those. You destroyed everything!
The certainty of success with Star Wars merchandise lacked the same confidence outside the United States as within. Just as Kenner was unprepared for the demand for Star Wars toys by Christmas of 1977, Kenner's UK distribution partner Palitoy was also unfamiliar with Star Wars and made some decisions in the interest of hedging its bets that have resulted in famous variants within the vintage Star Wars toy range. Probably the most well-known decision by Palitoy was the complete redesign of the Death Star playset. Having assessed that British parents might not want to pay the price for Kenner's design of the all-plastic 4-storey battle station, Palitoy made an entirely new playset constructed from heavy printed cardboard. That initial concern in getting the manufacturing prices low to move more product also resulted in modifications to Kenner's vehicle designs. For example, the Palitoy Landspeeder bonnet did not open, unlike the Kenner version. Arguably the most striking example of these modifications was to the X-Wing Fighter. As far as I can recall, when I was a child, I had the 1982 Palitoy variation of the X-Wing, with that toy being the white X-Wing with battle damage stickers. Man, I hated those stickers.
It wasn't until I was in college that I learned of the Palitoy X-Wing's existence. I never encountered it while living in the UK in the early 1990s, so I had no reason to suspect its design was any different from the Kenner version. The Palitoy X-Wing is immediately recognizable from its Kenner counterpart by the lack of the red light in the nose cone. In fact, the nose cone of the Palitoy X-Wing is not a separate piece, but part of the overall fuselage mold.
This version had all of the electronics removed to lower its price point at retail, and to expedite Palitoy's efforts to get it into the marketplace as quickly as possible. As a result, Palitoy also removed the blue plastic button sticking out the back end of the fighter, providing a much more streamlined profile. However, this also compelled Palitoy to not use the back cap piece that Kenner used for that section of the battery compartment, and instead incorporated that piece, like the nose cone, into the two halves of the fuselage to simplify the manufacturing process. In order to add the rear detail onto the fighter, a sticker was provided instead of moulded details.
When you have it in hand, you also notice the very different visual quality of the plastic used in its construction. Much like my observations regarding the SAS Panther versus the G.I. Joe Vamp over at Analog Toys, even the black plastic itself is far shinier than the Cobra Stinger, so it stands out even when sitting next to that vehicle. The Palitoy X-Wing has a lustrous white appearance compared to the more matte plastic of the Kenner version. The wing cannons of the Palitoy Fighter are also much shinier in appearance.
Topping off these changes is a coup de grace of design improvement. Ostensibly to add value back into the design of the X-Wing, Palitoy made the decision to chrome the head of R2-D2. The Kenner original was blue plastic sprayed with a coating of matte silver. The Palitoy R2-D2 has the same mirror finish as the dome on the vintage R2-D2 figure, aiding in the suspension of disbelief for a child that the R2 figure and the R2-D2 S-Foils button are one and the same.
As much as I love the X-Wing Fighter toy in general, it's probably no surprise how much I love the Palitoy version. It doesn't have any electronics inside that can malfunction or corrode. The chrome R2-D2 really seals the deal for me. And while a lot of people complain about the sticker on the back in lieu of molded details, that's where you'd be holding it as a kid when you were playing with it for the most part, so you wouldn't see that very often.
Although the Palitoy X-Wing is known for its lack of any light and sound features, there is evidence to suggest that at one point Palitoy were planning on incorporating an electronic function. This image is taken from the 1978 Palitoy trade catalogue, and you can clearly see the red bulb in the nose cone and two buttons at the rear of the craft. And the mind boggles at the tantalising possibilities that might have been in store for us had Palitoy eventually released this electronic version. Palitoy's X-Wing is simply gorgeous, and in my opinion is the most beautiful of all the different vintage variations, and the lack of any electronic features never bothered me when I was a child.
Interestingly, the re-release of the X-Wing in 1995 in the Power of the Force 2 lineup seems to be a hybrid design of the vintage Kenner and Palitoy designs. While it has a separate nose cone and rear battery compartment cap for the sound features, it also incorporates the fuselage screw underneath the front landing strut that was not present on the Kenner original, but is present on the Palitoy version. The Palitoy X-Wing is far more than just a footnote in the history of vintage Star Wars toys. It is one of the most important and distinctive variations to come out of the original vintage line, and it's a thrill to finally have one in my collection.
And there you have it, the legendary Palitoy version of the already legendary Kenner X-Wing. I'm Tony from Analog Toys, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
And I'll be watching the next video right alongside all of you over at Analog Toys. If you haven't seen Tony's channel yet and you love vintage toys, follow me on over. I'm sure you'll be subscribing just like I did. Tony's that good. Thanks for watching this video, and yes, there will be another Star Wars Follies coming soon.